Hey, it's Ryan, and before we start today's show, I want to tell you about an exciting new partnership. Gamestitch is partnered with Heroes for Hard Times, or simply put, Heroes. Heroes is a non-profit organization meant to bring out the best in people and the best in gaming to support the noble cause of charity. By engaging in a pastime that so many people love, Heroes for Hard Times seeks to use the passion and energy gamers have to help build a better future for those who have fallen on hard times. Although the organization is based in Middle Tennessee, the ultimate goal and reach of Heroes is endless. Whether in our own communities or places we have never visited, human suffering knows no borders, and misfortune can befall any family in an instant. Through charitable donations, volunteer efforts, and the wonderful communities spanning across all games and platforms, Heroes for Hard Times seeks to alleviate human suffering and to build a better tomorrow for individuals and communities everywhere. Gamestitch is excited about this partnership and will have more details in the coming weeks. Welcome to episode 214 of the official Gamestitch Podcast. I'm your host, Ryan Walton. Normally, we're joined by Dan Reamer. He's a little under the weather this morning. So, Matt, you're going to have to step up.
Thanks for having me, and glad to be here.
I want to put the pressure on you right away. You're going to have to do the work of two people this morning.
That's fine. I get it.
It's not going to be easy.
Yeah, well, you know, it's just, it works out because this day is going to be a hell of a day anyway. As soon as we finish recording the show, just for a little behind the scenes for all of our listeners, for Garrett and everybody that tunes in every week, as soon as we finish this, we have to load the Greyhound in the car, drive almost 200 miles to Nashville to hang out for 2.5 hours for the annual Greyhound Winter Festival, which basically means everybody from Nashville and the surrounding areas bring their dogs, and then you know the place where you like auction cows, like a stockyard,
right?
So they have an indoor stockyard in Nashville, and you just let the greyhounds loose inside, and then all the owners just kind of forget they're greyhound owners for a little while.
Now it sounds like
it's kind of like dropping your kids off at daycare.
It sounds like you don't have to do that.
No, but we paid for it quite some time ago, so we're going to go do it. Plus, Cece doesn't get to socialize with... Cece is the greyhound, by the way. She doesn't get to socialize with a lot of greyhounds, and greyhounds become more aggressive the more they don't socialize.
Now, what happens if there's an asshole greyhound in this pool of dogs?
It happens. One of them will sniff one of the other one's ass, and somebody will turn around and nip, and as soon as one starts barking, the rest of them bark for like an hour. It's like you just can't cut it off.
It sounds like a disaster.
It's like that program, the guy that goes, my voice is higher than your voice, and then if you put them like side by side, then my voice is higher than your voice for like an hour.
No,
it's like that with dogs.
Never heard of it.
Really?
Mm-mm. It doesn't sound like I want to though.
There's a video that you'll enjoy. I also forgot behind the scenes full disclosure to pull up our Twitter hashtags so that I can be ready for anything that our lovely fans have written in this week. So I'm going to handle that.
So not only are you not doing Dan's job, you're not even doing your job.
I would say that's accurate.
Okay, fair enough. Like I said, Dan's a little under the weather this morning. So last minute he had to pull out of the podcast. So hopefully he'll be feeling better. But it's okay because it's going to allow us to have a deep conversation about a game called Disc Jam,
which is a gem.
So
a little treasure.
Yeah, Disc Jam. It's in beta right now, and it's a Windjammers style clone, I would say. And for those who have never played Windjammers, it's like air hockey meets frisbee meets tennis.
Mm-hmm.
It's super fast paced, and I got to say it's a lot of fun. I'm really enjoying myself with it. It's got a little jank. I mean, it's in beta.
Yeah, I don't know if the game has jank. It's not like jank ball jank, right? But what I'm finding is the servers need work, and I don't know if that's because it's in beta and they're doing server load tests or what, but I'm finding that the servers are my biggest issue. There's some lag where there shouldn't be.
So it's very hopefully it's very watered down for the beta. You got 3 characters available. It does appear that you have a full list of unlocks for each of those characters, though. You earn credits for playing matches, then you take those credits and you unlock in a random prize generator, a prize machine, and it spits out, if you're me, the same thing over and over. Because you can get the same unlock more than once, you have to then cash that in for about half of the value or a little less. So it's got some hooks there to keep you playing. I guess the worry I have is when this game comes out, I'm afraid what the gap is going to be between people who are just playing the game and people who are fucking excellent at the game.
Yeah, but that's Rocket League. That's a lot of games that are basically a virtual sport. You know, that's a lot of that. So it doesn't necessarily worry me as much as I guess it should. You just, if you didn't have those matches where you go in and you get dominated, you wouldn't strive to get better, I guess is.
I guess I hope the full game implements a ranking system like Rocket League, because even though Rocket League has all skill levels, it does its best to pair you with your skill level and allow you to move up as you get better. Whereas this seems to have no fucking idea who it's pairing you with.
Yeah, the matchmaking definitely has something. I don't know if it's definitely not wrong with it. It's just the matchmaking's very unfinished. So there's no leveling system. So there's no way to tell how long someone, like the person across the net, has been playing or what skill level they should be at. But the game also has a hard time just pairing you up with anybody.
Right, and I don't know what the player pool size is right now. But I think they could learn some things from Rocket League. The PC cross PS4 is a smart move. It gives you a big player base, keeps people playing. I think also adding a ranking system would make a huge difference. That way you are not getting frustrated, because I played last night against somebody who fucking dominated me.
Yeah.
And I can just tell you that if that happened for 5 or 6 matches in a row, I'd probably be done. Not forever, but that night I'm probably done playing that game.
Yeah. And I think the other big issue that we had with it was if you put a party together, even in a private match, as soon as you need to, like if you want to switch teams, you have to break the party up and invite everybody back, which is really weird. Now, I'm sure these are things that will not carry over to the game when it comes out, but it's, worth pointing out. But the game is fun around that, which is pretty important. Like the alpha and beta stages for Rocket League when we played, I felt like a finished game, Right. This feels like a beta of a game that could be on that level,
So for all of our negative comments here, I want to say the game is a fucking blast.
Yeah, we had a great time with it.
And we laughed, and we got irritated with each other, and we played the mess out of it so quick. Once you're in a match, it starts immediately. It's instant between sets, and there's a lot of things they're doing right here, but they really capture that fun factor.
Yeah.
Like, this game is fun. It does feel like anyone can pick it up. It does feel like there's a high ceiling that's going to take a lot of work to get to.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the game's got a real chance. Now, the question is going to be, what kind of early adopters does the game get?
Yeah, well, it's got us. I don't, not to be negative, I don't see it getting Overwatch big. I don't see it getting Rocket League big, but I see it having... I see me and you sitting down at it 2 or 3 times a week and playing, even if it's just one match. Because it turns out we weren't too bad as a team for doubles.
There was definitely a learning curve.
Yeah.
Even when you figure out how to play singles, jumping into doubles, totally different.
Mm-hmm.
So
that was a big change, was jumping to doubles. I had a hard time adapting at first. It took 3 or 4 matches before I actually got the feel for it.
And I really think for this game to achieve really, really, really big success, they got to figure out how to get this on PlayStation Plus. Sony needs to be figuring out how to get this on PlayStation Plus. High Horse Entertainment needs to be figuring it out. Everybody needs to be talking right now to figure out how to give this game away to everybody on PlayStation, and then support it the way that Rocket League has, with new characters, with new costumes. There are tons of options for microtransactions here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but which works in a game like this, because
it's all cosmetic.
Yeah, exactly. It doesn't, like, even the characters are cosmetic. There is no advantage to playing anyone over anyone else or any costume over anybody else using a different disc, which is really cool. It separates it even from the likes of Rocket League, where each car responds differently on the map. It's kind of cool that everything's cosmetic. It really is down to just your skill at the game.
Right, and I like that. So I think they have the ability to add microtransactions here without them being something you feel like you have to do and that you have to spend money to be able to enjoy the game at the level everyone else is. But they got to figure out how to get this game in people's hands, because you're going to make a lot more money if you have a ton of people playing it, because the game is good. Obviously, we can only see 3 characters in one arena, stage, pitch, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see what kind of different stadiums they have, if they have different ones, if they're all rectangle, or if they have different angles and shit like that, that'll make it even crazier.
Yeah, get in there like you're standing inside of a pinball machine, like if it gets wacky like that. Which, this is just me. I've never heard of High Horse Games before, High Horse Entertainment. I've never heard of them, but I know that this is the spiritual successor. This is kind of like the long-time follow-up to Windjammers. Do they have a good relationship with Sony? Are they in Sony's back pocket? Do you know anything about them?
I don't think so. I think this actually started as a... I could be wrong here. I think this started as a tech demo / code test, and for something totally different, and they were so high on this idea that they decided to roll it out into a full game. So I don't know that they have any kind of relationship with anybody. I don't even know if this is coming out for multiple platforms.
Yeah, it should. It should come out on everything. It's very fun.
So I don't know much about this at all, other than I want to think that I read somewhere that this was not the original plan, but that it kind of became the plan very quickly once they realized how fun the game they had made was. And
sounds a lot like Rocket League and
sure, I mean,
pretty much every other game that's been huge.
You know, that's totally where Rocket League came from, and you can tell it's borrowing from some of those, that Overwatch, that Rocket League, trying to build that community. But I say don't borrow from it. I say full on take it.
Yeah.
There's a reason those games are doing so well.
Now, what's very interesting is that Windjammers is going to be coming over to PlayStation platforms.
Right.
So is this going to... So, like, when Windjammers comes out, is it better? Are we going to drop Disc Jam to play Windjammers? You know, or vice versa? Like, this is my concern. Windjammers was announced, like, 2 months ago that it's coming to PlayStation. When that happens, is there this... loyalty to one and not the other? You know, what actually happens there?
I'll tell you,
it's essentially the same game.
I'll tell you, you probably don't want to be playing 2 disc games.
Yeah, and Windjammers is so Disc Jam is in full 3D. You play from behind the perspective of your character. It's a lot like playing a tennis game, or like it kind of reminds me of Rockstar's table tennis, the way that you control the disc. Windjammers is top down,
right? And
you just it's like playing Pong, but it is the same game otherwise. The strategy, the scoring, the control of the disc, it seems it's all very much the same.
Yeah, it would appear that this is unfortunate timing for Disc Jam.
Yeah, now if they're tied together in any way, I could see how, because so Windjammers is a Neo Geo game from like 1993, 1994, something like that. So I could see how if you like they could tie them together in the PlayStation Store, like how Windjammers could be like retro mode for Disc Jam, or you know, vice versa. Like you buy one, you get the other, or you know, something to that effect.
I don't know. But you got a totally different developer, totally different publisher.
Yeah.
I assume they won't tie together, at least in any kind of meaningful way, other than maybe the store saying, "Hey, you might also like this."
Yeah, but I mean, it is like you pop it up just the same. You bounce it off the wall, just like this is a very, very similar. It is the same game, so I'm very curious as to how this is going to work out.
So what I'll say is the people that I think are playing Disc Jam that are Windjammers fans will immediately switch over.
Yeah, they're just waiting for...
Yeah. The people who aren't familiar with Windjammers, or maybe they want the 3D atmosphere, the environment, the way that the characters, you know, the move. I don't know. I think they probably stay with Disc Jam. The new Windjammers looks awesome, but Disc Jam is kind of, for a game that copied another game, it's kind of unique in the way that it looks and the way the characters look, and everybody's kind of a stereotype, and it's funny, and
Yeah, but I mean, they even have like the super moves, the same so the retro disc in Disc Jammers is the disc from Windjammers. Like it is, they have to be like, what if this is a Moby Dick Games kind of thing where the guys who are making Windjammers put out this beta as High Horse Games, and really what we're going to get is like Windjammers 94 is going to come out, and then we're going to get Disc Jam, which is the updated version, Windjammers 2. Like it does, even the super moves are the same.
I mean, that would have been ideal that they would have come out with a Windjammers 2 and then also included the original Windjammers remastered.
Yeah. You can even in Windjammers you can even hit people in the back of the head just like Disc Jam and knock them down with the discs. There's no way it's not the same people making this game. And like Windjammers is just being put like whoever made this game for Neo Geo, whoever made Windjammers, they just formed High Horse as a new company, and then Sony's going to put out Windjammers also at the same time.
So this is one of those things that's strange because Windjammers are not a game that a lot of people played.
Right.
But Windjammers has a ton of clones. Like this is not the first. This is the last in a long line of Windjammer clones. And right. I don't know what people are after. I don't know if people like disc games or if people want Windjammers again.
Yeah. Well, I mean, so when you look at Windjammers, it's just Pong. It's Pong where you can control the puck.
Right.
Which makes it great, and that is essentially is what Disc Jam is. Also, you're just in 3D. But I don't know, man. I can't imagine if it's not the same people, there's not a copyright infringement issue here.
But so here's some of just a quick Google search will get you these. Bomb Duders, Iron Disc Jam, Bomb Jammers, Crazy Power Disc Perfect, Disc Storm, Gyro Disc Super League, Way of Redemption, Power Disc Slam, and Power Spinners. So those are all just a quick Google search of clones for Windjammers. So it's a popular category for some reason, but I don't know if it's because those games are really fun or if people just want more Windjammers, and that's what's going to decide, I think, how successful Disc Jam is.
I wonder if any of them are as blatantly a ripoff as Disc Jam.
They all
is
appear to be identical.
Yeah.
So they all seem to be exactly that. And I guess it's going to depend on who does it best. I will say that the perspective change in the 3D certainly makes Disc Jam feel differently than the way that Windjammers looks.
Yeah.
Windjammers almost seems like a little out of control, a little faster, but you're working with a smaller area to cover, whereas they're doing some things different. So I don't know. I just hope this game catches on no matter what happens to Windjammers, because it's fun, and I need more games like this where I can jump in and play for 20, 30 minutes with a friend.
Yeah, exactly.
So tweet at those guys. I think they are at High Horse Entertainment.
At High Horse Games.
And there you go, at High Horse Games. Tweet at them. Let them know what you think of the beta if you got a chance to play it. If you didn't get a chance to play it, head over to youtube.com/Gamestitch and watch my playthrough. I think I played 3 matches, and then let them know that you checked it out. But you should try it out. The video doesn't do it justice because it is it's fast, and you really have to guess what your opponent's going to do. It's got like a little chess feel to it.
A little bit, yeah.
And that you're thinking a couple moves ahead all the time. Like, okay, he's probably going to throw a big curve here. I'm going to hit him with a straight. He's probably going to try to go, diagonal on me, and at that point, I want to shoot straight back. Like, you kind of almost have to think like that, but you're doing it all in a split second.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, check that out. Let us know what you think. Still playing Rocket League. Still working through that. Kind of a rough patch with Rocket League right now.
Yeah, what's going on there?
I think because the season's getting ready to end and because the tournament's getting close, that you just have a lot of people who
either practice or stop.
Are playing more than normal. Yeah. And so we're not getting the people who just kind of play for fun right now. Typically any given night there's 70 to 80,000 people on. When I get on at night, it's been over 100,000 every night.
Yeah.
And I just think you're getting a bigger pool of talent. And so the wins aren't coming as easy. That's been a little frustrating as of late.
Mm-hmm. I can understand that.
So Disc Jam's actually been refreshing for that too, because I was getting really frustrated. And we've also dipped back into GTA Online pretty hard.
Hell yeah, we have.
It has been a while since
staying up till 3 o'clock in the morning. Dip back into it.
It's been a while, really, since we've played Grand Theft Auto, and so it's almost like a new game when you jump online now.
It has changed. I will not say drastically, but it has become a lot more of the game that that you and I definitely enjoy, which is Fast and Furious, the game. Like, they put a skyline in, there's all these new vehicles, it's got the ramp car in it. It's become a lot more, like, the amounts of money that you get, like, you have to work very hard to make these amounts of money, but the amounts of money that you make are grander because the scale of the game has gone up. But it's still that same old fun. Like, we still did the same shit. We got in a helicopter, we tried to steal the jets out of the military base, you know? Like, not much has changed in the way that we play it, but a lot has changed in the game.
I mean, we probably spent 45 minutes jumping a car over a helicopter trying to get a picture.
Yeah, that was really fun, too.
It's, I mean, that game is just good, fast and loose fun. You make your fun on that. And we didn't play any missions, and we played till, like you said, 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning. And just goofing off. There was 5 of us in the room, which is awesome. Because even though everyone's kind of doing their own thing, they're kind of doing it together also.
Mm-hmm.
And that game is perfect for what it is, and I think Rockstar nailed it with GTA Online. It'll be interesting to see what that does to Red Dead Redemption 2.
Yeah, I think you're just gonna have people who play both, honestly.
So I don't think anyone's gonna move over, but I wonder what the online for Red Dead will look like.
Well, Red Dead 2 wasn't necessarily what GTA Online was, but it was a step in the right direction. You could see what Rockstar was gonna do when you played Red Dead Online. But Red Dead was still a lot more deathmatchy.
Right,
you know?
so I wonder if this model will translate over, because there's obviously not as much to do.
Yeah.
In a game like Red Dead, there's not as much to do in that open world, that open environment. You can only ride horses and shoot rabbits together so long.
Well, I mean, the fun of Red Dead Online is shooting your buddy's horse while you're riding alongside of him and watching him eat shit into the ground. So,
but we've done that. I don't know if I want
it continues to be fun.
Right. And with as much money as they made off of Grand Theft Auto Online, I gotta assume they're trying to figure out how to make this model work with Red Dead, and I just don't know if it will work the same.
Maybe they abandon it and they let Red Dead be its own thing, you know?
It wouldn't be
Rockstar's the kind of company that'll do that.
Yeah, it wouldn't be the worst thing in the world if it didn't have online at all.
Right, if it was just like, now if it had multiplayer, that's fine, but if it didn't have the open online world, like if you wanted to play multiplayer, you're going to play multiplayer in missions, but the free roam is, you know, just for you. Like, I get that.
But also,
like, you could go, you know, recruit people at the bar or whatever.
Yeah, but also if they do it right, and you can, I don't know, build a fort and keep taking over towns and things like that. I mean, they could make it where there was plenty to do online with your buddies. You guys could go rob trains and things like. I mean, they could make it fun, but they're going to have to work harder than they did at Grand Theft Auto, because the city is not as alive. The environment is not as alive as it is in Grand Theft Auto.
Yeah, that's true.
But I'm excited to get back in that one, and we may even try to get you some video on Grand Theft Auto. We got to figure out the best way to do that, because you'll only be able to see one of us at a time.
Yeah, I didn't think about that.
Yeah. But it's a good time, and we'd like to share that with you guys. If you're playing on PS4, and let us know. We'll get you in the lobby with us, and we'll all run around and be stupid together.
Yeah, that'll be fun.
Yeah, that game's a blast. After all this time, it doesn't feel old. It doesn't feel dated. It doesn't feel boring.
Yeah, I find myself with goals every time I play it. I'm like, gotta get that 60-car garage. Like, I need to put this amount of money into this car. I really want to buy this motorcycle. Nothing gets me like gaming like Grand Theft Auto does.
Right. And for somebody that hates open world, I mean, you don't struggle with it in this game. No,
I despise open world, but Grand Theft Auto works so games build a community, right? Like, Disc Jam is going to build a community. Rocket League has a community of people who play the game competitively. Grand Theft Auto builds this community of people who live in it. Does that make sense? Yeah. You came over and looked at my cars in my garage. Like, that's stupid. But that's what that game is. Right. Like, dude, I got this new motorcycle. You got to check it out. You want to ride it real quick? Like, that's fucking stupid that that's what the game is, but I love that.
And even the way that you talk about it, like, you know, we were playing and you're like, hey, I'll meet you at your house.
Yeah.
That's not a fucking thing. Just, I mean...
yeah, like...
But I get it, because that's how I'm going to talk also, because that's how it feels.
Yeah, so even though it's open world, like, it feels very... It feels like a concise experience to me, right. And in a way. Like, it doesn't feel like it's so random, but it is.
It's kind of personal, too. And I think that's purely by accident, but I think it totally worked.
It scratches that itch for me that we get when we play Gran Turismo, of, like, jumping into a lobby and just changing out cars and showing each other our cars.
Right.
Like, I enjoy that in gaming. Is like, hey, look at my unique thing, and then you show me yours, and, you know, like, hey, you want to drive this car that I just bought? It costs $2 million, and, you know, that's fun. I enjoy that. Well, like, hey, everybody, hop in this fucking hearse. We're gonna go down here and rob a convenience store. Like, that's stupid and fun. The
level of customization they give you, I think it helps that experience, because you never look like my guy. I mean, I'm wearing all of America stuff right now,
which is fantastic.
Yeah, I've got like a Stars and Bars on the shirt. I've got blue pants on that have Stars and Stripes on them. I've got the Stars and Stripe backpack. I've got the Uncle Sam top hat.
Makes me very proud to be seen with you in that game.
I've got a mullet.
Mm-hmm.
I think I have aviators on also.
You got those the Bootsy Collins glasses. They're like stars, but they're red, white, and blue.
Yeah, so everything about me screams freedom. But you don't look anything like that. And that's what makes it special. And we could go steal the same car and go to Los Santos and fix it up, and it would look absolutely nothing like the others. And that game does a really good job of keeping it from everyone being like, well, yeah, I have that too. It's like, oh, yeah, that's yours. Look at mine. Mine's better than yours. And you're like, no, it's not. Mine's better than yours. And it makes you want to push each other and have the best of everything. And because we all have different tastes and likes, we don't buy the same cars.
Right. Speaking of, I'm dying to get the Knight Rider car. It has like the parachute and the hydraulics and the missiles and stuff. It looks great.
Yeah, it's the one that you can launch yourself with.
Yeah, you can make it bounce and then launch the parachute and fly with it.
Yeah, you can't fly like you can with the rocket one, but you can make yourself kind of fly. And it looks fucking incredible too.
Yeah.
But again, money. You need that money. You got to play that game to get that money. That's the hook.
Shark cards.
You want this, or you just spend real life money on it. Either one's fine.
$100.
I mean, it's only money.
It is.
It's only money. If this is your first time joining us, welcome. How are you? No response. It's fine.
I mean, it's rhetorical.
I was waiting for them to respond. It's their first time. They could at least say hi. Each week, this group of best friends is usually 3 of us. We get together. We talk about video games. We talk about all the news, all the nerdy things that we love. And usually we wrap it in a big old fat blanket of bullshit. And rabbit holes.
Like a pig in a blanket.
Right. And rabbit holes that we like to just chase, just right down that. We like to go all in on some rants. And different mumbo jumbo, some people call it. But you're going to love that part too. It posts every Monday, 6 a.m. Central Standard Time. Podcast services around the world. And over at Gamestitch.com. You can find it there too.
Mm-hmm. Man, that website needs an update.
It does, but you can listen to the podcast there, so that's a thing.
That is a thing.
If for some reason one of these 9 million podcast services isn't convenient enough, just head over there. Listen there.
Mm-hmm.
There's no excuse not to listen. It's the easiest podcast in the world to find. And you should tell your buddies, your friends, your lovers about this podcast. Also, if you love it that much that you're telling your friends about it, you could also support us over at patreon.com/GameStitch. If you don't have any money to support us, that's cool too. This podcast will always be free. But if you do support us, we're going to do some cool stuff. Speaking of which, my video for Firewatch is up. I think, Matt, your video is pretty close. And I know Dan, before his illness, was getting close to his video. So these are all back catalog videos that were funded by you guys over at patreon.com/GameStitch for hitting our goal. So thanks to you guys for making that possible. And we have a playlist up where we're going to keep adding to that as we play through those games. And again, all made possible by you guys and your support over at patreon.com/GameStitch. So we really, really appreciate that. So I'm going to give everybody a little behind the scenes right now. Matt has spilled coffee, and he's in a frenzy to clean it up because there's a good chance it's gotten all over his computer. He's in a full-on frenzy right now. You can't see him, but you're missing some really good video because you can just feel the panic in his movements. Still cleaning. Now he's got a towel. This is a bad spill. Bad spill. Still going. Still cleaning. There's a chance this whole podcast could go down right now. That's how bad this spill is. I can't see the amount of liquids on the desk, but I can tell by the frantic cleanup that it's a lot. Looks like he started with a paper towel. He moved on to an actual towel. And this is riveting. I know it probably listens as good as it watches. But you can see, I can't see his face, but I can just see the panic in his body language. I think we're nearing the end. It looks like he's a little more confident in what's happening. Nope. Back to the cleaning now. He's back at it. Found some more. Oh, and we got it. We've completed the cleanup. It looks like it was successful. Okay, so what I've done while you were gone, Matt.
Yeah, sorry. Just so everybody knows, I spilled coffee all over my audio interface.
So I've given them a play-by-play of what I saw happening.
Nice.
Because I need them to understand that it was a frantic cleanup effort.
It was quick.
So I couldn't see your face, but I could tell by your body language that it was serious.
Yeah, something serious. It just happened.
Well, no, I saw you spill.
Yeah.
But then...
Did you see me do the...
Yeah, but then I only saw your body, but I could tell by the cleanup process that it was very intense and very... you were scared.
Yeah. There's a $600 audio interface that my microphone and headphones run through. And sorry, I haven't had my microphone back up to volume here. And I have my coffee on a little like a coaster right on top of it. And I was paying attention to the video chat and the notes, and reached for my coffee cup, and my fat sausage fingers, I just hit the lip and just spilled it right down the back of the audio interface, like right where all the inputs are. And so there's a $600 audio interface, and then there's an $800 monitor right behind it, like a speaker for mixing audio. And if that thing wasn't on mopeds, like lifted off the desk, I would have turned the podcast off.
I thought there
goddamn IHOP cups, right?
I thought there was a chance the coffee was going to turn the podcast off.
No, it's actually, with everything plugged in, it should be a pretty good seal back there, and a lot of that stuff, like it really won't have. Most of it hit the desk. Most of it went, like, the cup went over the back of the interface, and most of it spilled out where the cables are, and the cables are going to be fine because they're cables.
So what's the cleanup process going to be after the podcast?
I think I got most of it. I think some of it ran off the back of the desk here, though, so I'm going to have to get back there with a towel and just give it a good wipe.
That sounds so terrible.
Coffee's not that bad. It's just, it's just wrapped cabling, so it's going to be fine. I keep everything nice and neat. So,
but you want to clean you don't want them sticky.
Yeah, I don't. But what are you gonna do at this point?
And you gotta give them a wipe when it's over. You gotta hit them with those wet wipes.
Yeah, a few $100s worth of cables. Like I'm not super worried about it.
You gotta clean them. You gotta clean them with the wet ones.
Nah, I'll just clean them with the regular old dick towel.
Okay. Well, I don't know if it's gonna get the sticky off.
Yeah. Also, did you see my sweet IHOP mug? This is what I'm drinking coffee out of this morning.
I saw that earlier, but I think it's karma because you clearly stole it and now you've spilled it.
Very, very clearly. We went to IHOP the other night for Valentine's Day. That's where Ricky wanted to have dinner because she wanted pancakes, which, sure, I'm in. But they have a new logo, so they have a new mug. But the mugs aren't... So the old IHOP mug, the one from, that they made back in 1962, this motherfucker is like an inch thick. Like the rim. She's got a rim on her.
Right.
And you could probably throw this out in the street and it'd be fine. No chips, no breaks. The new ones are paper thin.
We gotta save money.
Yeah, the logo looks great, but they're paper thin. Like I wouldn't trust them to fall off the counter.
Well, times are tough at IHOP. They gotta cut costs.
This right here would damage our hardwood floors, where the other one would shatter into a million pieces.
Also, we don't condone theft of coffee cups from IHOP. I like to point that
out. Pretty much our thing. Is we go to a diner, we take the cup with us.
Yeah, I'd like to just throw out there that I don't.
Or if they bring me a ramekin with Caesar dressing or ketchup or something.
Now
like
maybe
that.
one or two of those has made its way to my house.
I've got a set of white, set of black.
I've got some.
Full sets.
I've got white, blue, and then we've got these really flat white ones that I really like.
I bet they're good for dipping.
Yeah, because
dipping like a chicken
sometimes
finger
when I'm
into
dipping, I like to really get in there. I like to really get up in it. Or
down in it.
Yeah, these cups are good for that.
I'm going to be very interested to listen to the last 5 minutes of this podcast back
where I give you the play-by-play. There's some dead noise in there because I get riveted watching you clean it up.
Yeah.
So you might want to take that out in post.
Yeah. Well, I'm just happy that I had the wherewithal to turn my microphone off whenever I did that, so that you guys didn't have to.
I almost wish you didn't, so I could have heard the clinking and the seriousness.
Yeah, it sounded like a kitchen for like 5 minutes in here, and then I yelled at Ricky, like, bring me a towel.
Oh, see, I thought you went and got the towel. I couldn't tell because it happened off camera.
Yeah, I did, but from the hallway, you're going to hear me go, I need a towel.
Right. So let's jump in our first story, and probably the biggest story in gaming this week. It's dominated the headlines.
Which is, can I just point out, I'm sad that this is the biggest story in gaming, that what we're about to talk about, that this is considered to be a gaming story. Just
right.
All right, anyway.
Right. So a video posted last month by PewDiePie. I think everyone listening to this podcast probably knows who PewDiePie is. He's a YouTube personality, and arguably the most popular. Not arguably, he is the most popular YouTube personality out there.
Yeah.
He's got a 53 million subscribers on his channel, which tells you about the reach he has. Anyways, he posted a video that is obviously offensive. And the Wall Street Journal decided to write an article about this. They go to Disney, who's part of, PewDiePie's part of Maker Studios. They're doing content for him, and obviously YouTube has put tons of dollars behind PewDiePie. So Wall Street Journal reaches out to YouTube, reaches out to Disney. They want comments on how they support someone who makes racially motivated videos. I guess you could call it that. And their reaction was the reaction that most companies nowadays have, and they dropped him.
Yeah.
Disney dropped them, and then the day later, YouTube said they will no longer be partnering with premium content with PewDiePie. And obviously, any videos that are, show hate in a racial manner will be pulled from YouTube. And the reaction,
which makes perfect sense.
Yeah, and the reaction since then has spiraled just out of control.
Yeah. I get it. I've not watched the video.
Okay,
is it bad?
No, let me give you a little behind the scenes here. The clip, it was posted January 11th. What PewDiePie did is he went on the popular site Fiverr.
Okay.
Fiverr is where you pay somebody $5 and they do something for you.
Yeah.
So he found two young men that paid for $5 would write anything on a sign and then send you a video of them holding it up.
Mm-hmm.
So PewDiePie got on Fiverr. He found these guys. He pays them $5, and the message he sent for them to put on the sign was "Death to all Jews." He then watched the video on the video and reacted to it.
Right. I assume he reacted negatively to it.
So I haven't watched it either. He makes some roundabout excuses on why he made it. He said as soon as the drama started, before he was fired and everything, that he did this to show how crazy the modern world is by demonstrating what people will actually do for $5. That's not good enough.
That may be the exact reason.
It could be, but that's not good enough.
If you're a millionaire for making social-based content, you should know... Yeah or no? But before
does anyone go to PewDiePie for an in-depth look at society?
No. Also, I'm not sure. So, the fact that he has Disney, he's in Disney's back pocket, he should know. He should already know what can and can't go on his channel. At the same time, PewDiePie he's self-made. He doesn't. He didn't make he didn't make that. And he said, if you make something, I'll put it on my channel. And if he said, hey, this is, wildly inappropriate, but here's what somebody made, and, I guess it depends on there's a little bit of context here. And then there's also a little bit of, PewDiePie should have just self-edited and say, this is not going to go on my channel.
So I think that's the key. So he also, in that same statement before everything kind of went down, he said, I think it's important to say something, and I want to make one thing clear. I'm in no way supporting any kind of hateful attitudes. Though it was not my intention, I understand these jokes were ultimately offensive. Again, I think that's damage control. But since then, as support has swelled in both directions, he has posted an 11-minute video that is he's directly responding to the content, because the Wall Street Journal said that he has, I think, 9 videos that have this kind of content in it, and he responds to it in typical PewDiePie fashion, in my opinion.
Like an idiot.
Yeah, so he apologizes and then immediately goes on to how it's everyone against him, and then he'll apologize, and then he'll jump right back to how it's everyone against him again.
Well, at least he doesn't just scream aimlessly.
No, he's not screaming, and there is a very real moment at the end of the video where he tears up when he's trying to thank the people who still support him. Yeah. And it in my opinion, it feels very, very real. He calls himself a rookie comedian who is obviously not very funny. He tried to make a joke, it missed. It hurt people. That wasn't his intentions.
Which, is fine if you're... so, you don't get... Like, nobody gets to say who and who isn't a comedian, and if anybody has watched adult comedy, it's racially... Like, it is driven by racial stereotype. Like, a lot of adult humor.
Right.
A lot, like, Louis C.K., you name it, right? Bill Burr, you name it. Kevin Hart, Chris Rock, like, you name it. It's all driven by racial stereotype, whether it's directed at the race of the comedian or, another race, right?
Right.
The trick to it is understanding that it's a joke and laughing at it because a little bit of it's true, and that makes it a little bit funny, right? Because it's a little bit ridiculous in its truth. The part where PewDiePie fucks up is anybody can say something, and it should be taken funny, and I mean, we're guilty of it also, and it shouldn't be taken as racism or a prejudice or discrimination when it's obviously a joke. Whether you enjoy the delivery or not, you thought it was a funny joke. If it's a joke, it's a joke. The problem is always going to come back to the fact that this guy is in Disney's back pocket. It's Disney.
Well, and I certainly agree with that, but also, you're right. We have said things that potentially are offensive on this very podcast, with no intent, not trying to ever make anyone feel.
I know 100% I have. I know 100% I have.
But also, it is only PewDiePie's job to make sure that his content is amplified on a level that ours will never be, and it is his job solely to make sure that he doesn't do those things. And or he goes full the other direction, and that's what he does. But you can't exist in the space in between where you want to take money from Disney, but you also want to be able to make the jokes that you want to make. And he's smart enough to build the following in the community that he has. He's smart enough to know that he can't walk that line. Right.
And nobody looks at PewDiePie as a Joe Rogan or a Steven Crowder or, what's that guy's name? Why can't I think of that guy's name?
Doesn't matter. Doesn't change the point.
Yeah. I mean, the point is his content is different. So he doesn't, even though realistically he has the liberty to do that, his content doesn't go that way. So it doesn't make sense for him to do that. And so because of the attention that's on him for what he normally does, when he says something that is not in line with that content, it's going to get dissected. It's going to get looked at.
Right. He's trying to take money out of both sides, and you can't. Are you a shock comic entertainer, or are you someone who makes content for Disney that appeals to tweens?
Right.
You have to decide. Anthony Jeselnik is probably one of the harshest comics that exists right now, and people pay tons of money to go watch him.
Right, because it's
highly offensive all the way through.
Right, but you have to set up like at the beginning, like, hey, this is going to be offensive.
Yeah, if you're a pussy,
and
get out.
PewDiePie's content doesn't set that up.
Right.
Right. Yeah.
Right.
See, like, you can't say that.
Right.
You can't say that.
He can't say that, but
right,
because that's not.
But our show is like just to contrast, our show, big or small, is about being offensive and adult. And even though we have a community and we're trying to build a community, and we do this for you guys, part of our shtick is this is not a gaming podcast for kids, and that's pretty clear in the fact that we dive into the news and the industry so much. So when we say stuff like we don't expect all of our listener base to be like the majority of our listener base to be 18 and younger. You know, there's a mature tag on our show on iTunes for a reason. PewDiePie doesn't have that, you know, so there is a certain expectation of the content that he has to be aware of.
So not to keep beating a dead horse, this story is everywhere, but I do want to end with the same way that he ends his video, which may give you an indication of where he plans to head. He ends it after the tearful thank you to the fans. He looks right at the camera and he says, "Nice try, Wall Street Journal. Try again, motherfucker."
Wow.
And he then flips the camera off and kisses his middle finger. And
maybe PewDiePie is turning it on. Like he's about to go adult.
Maybe he's about to go full-on adult, and this will be the best business move we've ever seen. But, you know, there's tons of people out there that are, oh, well, he's only 27. He's just a kid. He doesn't all that's bullshit. Okay, he knows what he's doing.
He's a millionaire.
You don't make the kind of money that he's made and build the kind of following he's made and not know what you're doing. He understands YouTube. He understands those companies. So, you know, who knows what'll happen. But I know that he's gotten more publicity in the last 2 weeks than he probably ever has.
Yeah.
Because usually when you hear about PewDiePie, it's when they talk about how much money he's made. That's really the only context you ever get for PewDiePie, is that he's some guy that makes web videos that makes millions of dollars. And I would say most people, including Disney, doesn't watch his content. And I don't think he can be blamed for that. YouTube, Disney, anyone who works with him, if you don't watch his content, is that his fault?
No.
I mean, he's just making the videos he makes. If you weren't smart enough to know that he's a loose cannon, or he says things like that, or he makes bad jokes that are offensive, that's on you, because it's not the first time he's done this. Right. Obviously, this is the most public that it's become, but I don't know. I will just tell you that I don't have an opinion on this. I think what he said was offensive. Several videos he has, I think, are offensive. I think his personality in general is offensive to me. I don't like the yelling. I don't like the screaming. I don't like the hard fucking jump cuts that he does in his videos.
But that's the style of his.
100%.
Of who he's shooting for. Yeah.
But I also don't watch his videos. Yeah. So that way I don't have to worry about it. It's not my problem because I don't watch his videos. And I do think that Disney and YouTube were kind of took the bitch's way out.
Wow.
Not because what he did wasn't wrong, but because they didn't take any time to have the conversation with him, and they should have known beforehand the kind of content that he occasionally makes. Yeah. So as soon as the Wall Street Journal puts their article out, as soon as they do it for you to immediately cut ties with him, tells me you really weren't that invested with him to start with.
Yeah, they were just there because he was popular
because he makes
at the
money, right? And that I think is really shitty. Even though I think Disney 100% had to cut him loose.
Yeah,
so
100%.
I don't think they had a choice. I just think the way they did it and saying, hey, if I run Disney and this happens, I say, hey, we had some missteps in that we didn't monitor the kind of content he made well enough. We've had a conversation with him, and we'll let you know what we decide after we review all of his content.
Yeah. Well, and
then you still cut him loose, but
yeah, I think you Hulk Hogan him no matter what, right?
But the media can't make that decision for you. And they did here. Yeah. They made the decision for YouTube. They made it for Disney. Because if this is never a story, guess who's still part of Makers? Guess who's still doing his Scare PewDiePie series? Guess who's still promoted? Yeah. It only matters because a large group of people became upset about it.
What I'm curious at this point is, like, is PewDiePie about to go away forever? Like, are we about to never see PewDiePie again?
Well, I think this 11-minute video already has 11 million hits.
Yeah, but that's not as many millions of hits as he normally has on a video either.
But at the time of, it's 2 days old at the time of us, recording this. Like, I think he's fine, because what I think he's done is he has set himself up if he wants to take that turn.
Yeah, I think now he can appeal to a more adult audience.
You know,
but
he says in that video that one of the things he promised himself this year is that he wasn't going to bite his tongue as much. He wasn't going to, not be himself in order to make money, and because money's never mattered to him. And I think you can tell when you look at the way his videos are still made.
You may also not want to set up yourself as to read too much into that. Part of what I would think is that PewDiePie does a lot of editing out his feelings about Jewish people.
Right. So there's
I don't think that's true, but you don't want to say, hey, this year I'm not going to self-edit as much, and then the next video you release, you talk about how much you quote-unquote hate Jews.
Right.
You don't want to do that.
So there are lots of ways to become adult without being a racist. I want to make that clear, too. This wasn't the only path if he wanted to be more edgy.
And not that I think that this is racist. This is something that I would consider funny in if you put it in the category of adult humor, because it's shock.
Right.
You're like, you shouldn't say that, and that makes it funny. But
so if this is on Tosh.0 and they roll the clip and they cut back to Tosh, who says nothing and just stares at the camera,
right,
funny.
He gets a huge applause and people love it. Yeah, exactly.
So, but also you have to know your audience, and you have to know that Tosh is also never going to work with Disney.
Exactly, but I mean, how many times have you watched an episode of Tosh and he said something so racist that it would get you shot if you said it in public, right? Like, so this is an apples to oranges comparison. It's a little bit stupid. I think what'll happen is somebody on an equally, not that anybody's equal to Disney, right? PewDiePie will get picked up somebody that has more of an adult audience where it really won't matter if he starts to get edgy.
Right, because someone like Comedy Central pick him up, give him a 30-minute show.
Right. It's not like he popped on a white hood and like burned a cross or anything like that. He made a joke.
He made a bad joke.
Yeah.
It really wasn't that funny. And it certainly I can see how someone could be offended by it. But like I said, I think he's offensive almost all the time. I think that's kind of the character that he plays.
Yeah, that, and some people are offended by everything.
That's true too.
There's me and Dan will get on this every once in a while. There's a lot of self-victimization that goes on now. It's like it's a thing.
Yeah,
and it's really weird and stupid.
How many people who have never heard of PewDiePie are posting on their Facebook right now that this guy should be taken off the internet?
Right,
you don't know who the fuck he is. Your kids have been watching for 5 years and you don't even know it because you don't watch your kids.
Right.
So this is a big story. Let us know what you think about it. We probably won't read these comments, but podcast@gamestitch.com will be interesting to see what you guys think. But we probably won't read them on the podcast just because it's easy for this to get out of hand.
Yeah.
And
now, we did get a question this week on Facebook about what we think about something. This is the only segue I can possibly make into this. We got a longtime listener, Thomas Barfield. He likes to support us over on Facebook. He sent us an Ask GSP that just says, what do you guys think about ARK? Well, I don't know how else to tie this into the show.
It's the worst segue I've ever heard.
Yeah, it's a terrible segue, but I know that you have been interested in this game.
I've got strong feelings about ARK.
Yeah, so how do you feel about it now that it's released? I guess it's not really released, but now that it's updated a little bit further. So
I feel like I really want to play ARK. It looks awesome. Mm-hmm. Obviously, people are buying it. We did last month's charts. That was number one. I don't like the early access on PS4, on consoles. I don't like early access. I think early access is one of the worst parts of Steam.
Yeah,
I think people put out broken, unfinished games, and I'm not saying that's what ARK is because it's not. But I don't like the idea of buying something before you buy the full game, because what if it never happens? What if it never gets updated? I just think it opens the door for a lot of shitty possibilities. So I don't like the way they've handled that, even though I don't think that they're going to disappoint. I really, really, really want to play this game, but I really need it to be less than $60.
Yeah, that's about the only input I have for this, too. This is a game that I haven't done any more research on than watched some videos of the early access, and so it does not look like a game I would ever play, but very much in line with what Ryan says. I don't... betas and alphas are one thing, right? It's free. You go in, you play it, you're helping them out. Paying $29, $39, $49 for a game that's not released yet, so that you can be a part of the incessant updating and all the development woes. It's just, I don't like that. And there are some games that never would have happened if it hadn't been for that system. But I think now it's taken advantage of, and it's a way for people to just put shit out and collect money on something they're not very sincere about. Not that Ark falls into that category. I think it's a system that doesn't work anymore. It worked for DayZ, and that's about it.
And I think you and I are both focusing on the repercussions to early access, and not that Ark.
Yeah, it's not specifically about Ark, but Ark is one of the most recent games that early access really didn't do a favor. And so, I have no real opinion on Ark other than I'm not interested.
It's the first console game that I can think of that sold a pre-release version of the game. Like, nothing else comes to mind, and I don't want
not this. A pre-order, buy it before it comes out and play it while it's in development.
Right, anyone can just go buy this game for $60, and this is not the full version, and I think that was scary to me. Yeah. I would love to... So here's the thing. If I'm going to pay $60 for this game, which could happen, I'm going to need a retail physical release.
Yeah.
If I can get it for $40 or $30, then yeah, we're talking now. But if you want me to spend the $60, I just want to wait until I can actually hold it and know that the thing that I buy is the full version of that game. Having said that, the game looks fucking awesome. It looks like fun. It looks like the kind of game that I wish we all played together. And that we could absolutely have a blast. So, Thomas, if you're playing it, let me know what you think. But I think I want to play this game. I just think that I don't like the way it was rolled out.
Yeah. And then we've had a couple of GSPQs this week. And just to keep in line with Thomas's responses, I asked this week, with the Switch coming out next week, is anybody going to grab it? Who's excited for it? Thomas was one of our responses, so we'll give him another shout out. He says that he is really looking forward to Zelda. That's pretty much the only reason he's grabbing the Switch. So closer to release, being that both of us are going to buy the Switch, are you still pumped? Are you getting more pumped, less pumped? What games are you going to buy at launch? Where's your head at for that?
I'm full on excited.
Yeah, me too. 100%. It's really turned on in the last week.
I watched an unboxing. I am full on buck wild for the Switch.
Me too, and I cannot wait to play Zelda. I'm dying to play it. It hit me real hard about 2 days ago how much fun it's going to be to take the Switch to work.
So I had to make a quick run to GameStop this week, and when I was there, just all the fucking posters and advertisements, and it's really real. It's about to happen.
Yeah.
And it might suck. I don't know. I'm not saying this is going to be great. What I'm saying is it's fucking close, and I'm excited. And
and I haven't been excited about a Nintendo console since the Nintendo 64 came out. I am pumped about this. I think Nintendo is really about to do what they used to do with this console.
If you're not excited
the best way.
If you're not excited about Zelda, you're drunk. Zelda looks incredible. Do I know about the other launch titles? I don't. The only one I pre-ordered was Zelda.
It's the only one I care about.
I really want. What's the other one? The Scissors, the Cut.
Who knows? Snippers.
Snipper clips.
Yeah, snipper clips.
It looks fucking great. It's a downloadable. There's going to be some games to play here. But Zelda's going to take up a lot of time. They announced the season pass for Zelda. Zelda's going to be a game they support.
Did you see the big Nintendo announcement that coincides with Switch that all of your eShop purchases will be tied to your account now and not the console?
Right. So going forward, everything you buy will, in theory, carry over to anything Nintendo that happened after this.
Yes.
That's correct, right?
Fantastic.
Nothing previous, though.
Nothing previous. So anything that you buy, even after this update, anything that you buy on the Wii U will not carry over to the Switch. Right. But anything that you buy on the Switch going forward will carry over to any console after the Switch. Same goes for the Wii U. If you buy it on the Wii U after this update, it will carry over to all Nintendo consoles following, but it will not go
It's not retroactive, right?
Anything that you have bought at that point will not go backwards to
and I hope everybody listening understands the magnitude of that, because Nintendo makes a fortune off of selling you the same game every time.
It seems so basic because all the other consoles do it this way, but this is a deep pass from Nintendo.
I mean, this is for the fans, and because they know they need to, because Nintendo has clearly sold me 9 copies of Super Mario 3. it was clear to
Right.
Nintendo that I was going to keep buying that game.
They've listened to the show. They know it's your favorite game,
Right.
dude.
But the thing is that they're taking that money off the table and doing something for the people that play their games, and that's a good fucking start for a company that's struggling when it comes to not necessarily money, but just getting people excited, getting buy-in, getting people to believe in Nintendo again. So I think it's a good move.
Yeah, I agree.
Switch is right around the corner, and so is Horizon, and I'm pumped for both.
Yeah.
I cannot wait.
We so next weekend, next Saturday at 6 p.m. Central Standard Time, we're going live with our show.
Live show.
And we're gonna be giving away live show on twitch.tv/Gamestitch, possibly on YouTube. Who knows? But we're giving away a copy of Mass Effect Andromeda on your console of choice. What you want to do is be in the chat during the show. We're going to do the drawing. If you win, you just tell us which console you wanted, and we're going to ship it to you. Speaking of Horizon, we've got some friends over at Sick Critic. They're giving away a copy of Horizon, and they're giving that away on the 28th. So our community, anybody that listens, anybody that's on the live show, go over to Sick Critic also and see if you can get yourself a free copy of Horizon. And if you are part of the Gamestitch community and you win it there, make sure that you give us a shout out. Make sure that you let us know. We'll give you and Sick Critic a shout out on our Twitter and on the show. So
Free games.
that's all I have. Yeah, just
Free games.
Since you've been tooting the horn on Horizon, I figured if anybody listening wants to try to get a free copy,
Game's going to be good. And set that calendar reminder now for that big old live show that we're doing.
Yeah, baby.
No excuse not to almost try to win a free game. Well, not almost trying. You're definitely trying. You might almost win.
Yeah.
All you have to do is be in the chat and be chatting.
Yeah, be chatting. My fiance Ricky will be in the chat monitoring. She'll be there to interact with you. She'll be letting us know what's going on. So
I should be on the ones and the twos.
on the 9s and the 5s.
You do it how you want. I'm doing it on the ones and the twos.
All right. Seems too close together, but whatever.
It's back to back, to be honest with you, but that's
Yeah.
how I like it.
Yeah.
So if you're not excited about the Horizon and you're not excited about the Switch, you're probably excited about Mass Effect. So here's your chance to get Mass Effect for free. So really don't miss this stream. Or maybe you're excited about all three and you're just fucking sitting on a fat stack of cash.
Hell yeah.
I ain't mad at that either. But we have to make decisions over here. And
Big decisions.
my decision is to get 2 of the 3. So Mass Effect and the Switch, or excuse me, Horizon and the Switch. I'm pumping the brakes on Mass Effect.
I'm gonna go. Dan is gonna be disappointed to know this. I'm pumping the brakes on Mass Effect. Also, I'm gonna wait till after the launch.
Really?
Yeah. The marketing material for Mass Effect in the past 2 weeks has really turned me off, and I don't know why.
So have you made any sort of? Are you feeling the opposite about Horizon? Are you any buy-in on that yet?
I feel the same about Horizon that I always have. It's an open world game that I don't feel like I want to play. Mass Effect, I'm excited to give this away to our fans, but this is a game that I don't know if is for me anymore.
Right. And that's always been my fear with it is I understand why people like Mass Effect. I understand why a lot of people like Mass Effect. But I also can look at that game and say that I probably won't enjoy it.
Yeah. I don't know if it's that I probably won't enjoy it. I'm concerned with the amount of time that I have to invest.
Right.
This game looks huge. That's part of the reason why I'm excited for someone in our community to get a free copy and play, right? Because this looks like this is a big game that we can give to somebody and they have a lot of time to experience it. I'm scared that I don't have that time to invest personally. Mass Effect is a game that I love, though, so we'll see.
Let's jump into some MPD data.
Yeah, headlines.
So usually we read you the top 10 games for the month, and then we kind of move on. This week we have some broken down list, and I think these are kind of interesting. So I'm not going to read all of every category, but I want to give you a taste of what's selling on all platforms. So let's start with the top 10 best-selling games, all platforms. So this includes everything. Notable absences would be Nintendo and Battle.net in the U.S., so we don't really know what they're selling. But let's jump in there. So number 10, FIFA 17. Number 9, Overwatch, but again, no Battle.net, so obviously this game is higher than number 9.
For sure.
Number 8, Watch Dogs 2. Number 7,
Surprising.
Madden NFL 17. Number 6, Kingdom Hearts HD 2.8 Final Chapter Prologue.
What the fuck?
Long name, doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
Number 5, NBA 2K17. Number 4, Battlefield 1. Number 3, Grand Theft Auto 5. Number 2, Call of Duty Infinite Warfare. And number 1, Resident Evil Biohazard.
I am pumped that RE7's at the top of this list. I didn't expect it to be there.
So on these abbreviated lists, I'm going to give you just a 1, 2, and a 3. So PS4 top 10 selling game or top 3 selling games for the month of January. Number 1, Resident Evil. No shock, that's how it gets up top on the big list.
Right.
Number 2, Kingdom Hearts
list.
HD 2.8 Final Chapter Prologue.
There must be a huge Kingdom Hearts following that I did not know about. Like, I get that the game's popular. I thought it just had its crowd.
I'll tell you what I like is Final Chapter Prologue.
Yeah. Well, they've had 19 games that have been the Final Chapter Prologue at this point. They're really
and number
dangling that
3,
carrot.
Call of Duty Infinite Warfare. Top 3 games for Xbox One in January. Number 1, Resident Evil 7 Biohazard. Number 2, Call of Duty Infinite Warfare, and number 3, Battlefield 1. Gives you a snapshot of kind of what those two different consoles.
Yeah. I would like to point out that Grand Theft Auto is in the top 5 on both of those consoles also. That's insane.
Yeah, fucking crazy. This list, super interesting. Top 3 games for the Wii U in January 2017. Number 1,
All right.
Minecraft. Number 2, Paper Mario Color Splash. And number 3, Super Smash Bros.
Yeah. Minecraft is unstoppable.
Yeah, Minecraft fairly new to the Wii U.
Yeah.
So it definitely does have new players to reach over there, but man, what a list. Top 3 portable games for January 2017. Number 1, Pokemon Sun. Number 2, Pokemon Moon. And number 3, Dragon Quest 8, Journey of the Cursed King.
Having a hard time with those Roman numerals.
Well, I was trying to decide if this is exclusive to the 3DS, and I think it is. I think this is not a Dragon Quest you can get anywhere else. So,
yeah. This portable list, we were talking about it before the show. These top 10 portable games, this is a really good list of video games.
Do you want to just run through the whole list? Do you want to give them all the...
Yeah, just go 4 to 10. This list is fantastic.
So number 4, Super Mario Maker. Number 5, Super Smash Bros. Number 6, Mario Kart 7. Number 7, Mario Party Star Rush. Number 8, Kirby Planet Robobot. Number 9, Luigi's Mansion Dark Moon. And number 10, Animal Crossing New Leaf.
Like, if you only bought 10 portable games, and that was the list, like, you got a library right there of really badass games.
If you went and bought a 3DS today and bought those 10 games, it would be worth it. Mm-hmm. Like, you would not be disappointed if that was the only 10 that you ever played. That's a fantastic list.
Crazy.
Speaking of crazy, CD Projekt Red is fucking printing money.
Good.
So their share value CD Projekt's share value continues to surge following a successful Christmas sales and the performance of the Gwent beta. So ahead of these annual results that are going to be published on March 30th, their value has risen to over $1.6 billion. They're now worth more than Capcom. To put that into a little perspective. They're also the 15th biggest company listed on the Polish Stock Exchange. And their value has risen 1,200% in the last 5 years and 56% in the last 3 months alone. They are also the biggest Polish exporter in the IT sector. 95% of all revenue is generated outside of Poland.
Man, congratulations to those guys.
That's what hard work and doing it right looks like.
Killed it with... Yeah, doing it right.
Yeah.
They killed it with Witcher 3. The only reason I bought that game is because of the inclusion of the DLC and that thank you note.
Yeah.
That went so far to say so much about that group of people and what they do at their company. Man, that's crazy.
And every time they're on anything, they are the most excited, the most passionate, and...
like, gracious towards their fan base. They are...
like on the Game Awards, they're jumping around. I mean, they make games because they love to make games.
Yeah.
And I think it shows in their work, and it shows in the way that they support it, and the way that they support the people who make it possible for them to do that every day. And there's not a company, or let me change that. There's a lot of companies I'd like to see that. There's no one that I think that you would not like their success and not be happy for them, because they genuinely care about the people that play their games.
Yeah.
I know this next one's going to get you pretty excited.
Yeah, I saw this on Twitter this week, and I didn't give a shit, and I don't care now either.
Bungie's working with McFarlane Toys to bring a new Destiny line out, and it's going to launch the same time as Destiny 2. So, get your shelf space ready for that.
Is that 2 the numeral, or is that 2 TO?
That's the numeral. Destiny.
Gotcha.
Deuce.
Gotcha. I'd like to, so I don't really have a good segue for this, but we did have another Ask GSPQ that I'd like to throw in here before we get to our last news story.
Give me a topic, and I'm gonna segue this.
All right, so it's about a video game that you received as a gift that you didn't like, or I'm sorry, a video game that you received as a gift that you thought you wouldn't like, and it turns out you loved it.
Yeah, you're right. No segue.
That's almost specifically the question. Right. Ad Hoffen Show writes in using the hashtag AskGSP, just like you can, and he says, as a kid, did you ever receive a game as a gift that you didn't want, but you ended up playing it and liking it? He says that Ikari Warriors on the Nintendo Entertainment System was that game for him. My answer is yes, and it will be no surprise to you that that game is Metal Gear. When I got this game, I didn't understand it. I didn't like it. And it took like 3 years for me to actually play it and enjoy it. Part of that was because I was so young when I received it. But around about 1990, 1991, when I really kind of hit my stride in liking games, the Super Nintendo was out at that point. But that's when I found Metal Gear. So there was a long time of me not liking it and thinking, oh, this is dumb. And then I played it, and 3 years later, Metal Gear Solid comes out, and that's kind of it for me. Never finished the original Metal Gear until I was in my 20s, though. Just, little trivia.
So I'll say every game that my dad ever bought me that I didn't ask for was...
Tell me about that PS2 game.
Which one?
The one where, the Dune Buggy racing
Smuggler's Run. I didn't even know what Smuggler's Run was. And I don't know how he arrived at that being my PS2 launch title, other than he thought, fucking cool buggy. Or maybe he did his homework. I don't know. My dad usually does his homework, so maybe he looked into it. But it seriously is almost every game he's ever purchased for me that I didn't ask for specifically. It was the Turbo Graphics, the entire console, and every game that came with it. It was... me getting the Super Nintendo and not getting the Genesis, and everything my dad did, kind of shaped that. Those are backwards. Also, getting the Genesis, not the Super Nintendo.
Oh yeah, I see.
All of those things, all those games he bought me. Now, as I got older, I started asking for stuff, and that changed a little bit. But it was, Intelligent Cube and Busted Groove and.
Intelligent Cube. What a game.
Mr. Mosquito and games like that I wasn't asking for, but he would just kind of bring home, and Devil Dice and just weird stuff that really has shaped the kind of games that I play now.
Yeah.
So,
I think what I would have a longer list of is games that I begged for and then fucking sucked.
Superman for N64.
Clay Fighter 64.
I straight up begged for Superman, and it is terrible.
There was a game on Super Nintendo about robots that fought each other. It might have been called Robots or Robot Wars or something like that. Begged my dad for that game. Almost unplayable.
Yeah. What about games that were terrible, but that you still loved?
Like you just made yourself play them?
I don't think you made yourself. I think there's something you truly like about them. Like Dan in Alpha Protocol or Advent Rising. Like he actually likes those games. Like he's not putting on a front.
Man, I'm sure there are games in my list that fall into that, but I can't think of any. I'm sure there's a game that just sucked and I played it over and over. I just can't think of anything.
Yeah, see, where that gets tough is that it's hard because you don't think it sucks. So it's hard to immediately think. It's like I think of Mission Impossible for N64.
Yeah, that's a good example of a game that, because of the movie, I loved it so much.
The game probably wasn't good, but I played the shit out of it, and I remember it fondly. But I got to think it wasn't very good.
Or like Cruising USA. That game sucks, man, but I played the shit out of that game.
Universally loved. Like, that's not a game that people say this game sucks. Like, I'm talking about a game... Like, I played Beetle Adventure Racing. That's not a game anyone else liked.
Mm-hmm. So on Super Nintendo, Pilot Wings, the original Pilot Wings is pretty universally I wouldn't say despise, but it's polarizing. I played the shit out of Pilot Wings on Super Nintendo.
It's still a big title though.
Yeah, but Pilot Wings 64 is definitely regarded as the
for sure
definitive Pilot Wings. But like Pilot Wings on the NES was fun for me. There are games, but they don't. I can't think of a game that I forced myself to finish because it wasn't a good game, but I still forced myself to play.
Yeah, I don't really do that. I don't really get into the forcing myself to play. And even as a kid, I didn't. There's only a few instances where I flat out begged for something and felt like I had to play it. And I don't remember specifically what they were. But there are games that I actually loved and wanted to finish that probably weren't very good. And there was just something about them that worked for me and the style that I play. Great question. Remember, if you have questions for us, Twitter at @game_stitch using the hashtag GSPQ. Is that right?
Yeah. Ask GSPQ if you want to ask us a question. We will ask you questions with hashtag GSPQ.
Yeah, so watch both of those.
Or no, it's just Ask GSP.
Yeah, George St. Pierre. Look for that.
Yeah.
And make sure you follow us on there. Also, you can email us anytime, podcast@gamestitch.com, and let us know what you think over there. The last news story. It seems to be pretty cool. But Valve fixed a class change pose parameter bug in Team Fortress 2. That's right, a bug that's 10 years old, and they decided to patch it. But
they patched it after a player found the bug and corrected it.
Right. And they patched it like in the most like silent, like we didn't patch this way. And that they just slid it in a whole bunch of other notes.
Right.
And tried to go under the radar with this. But it's still cool that somebody over there took the time out of their day to fix something that probably wasn't a big fix.
Let's talk about, do you know what this bug did?
Yeah. You can explain it. I watched videos because I wasn't clear.
Yeah. So what happens is if you were to change class mid-match, the hitbox parameter did not adjust to the new character. So you could, in theory, land a perfect headshot and it would pass through because it never hit the hitbox. The hitbox would be trailing or leading by as much as a head width. So it definitely probably is the cause for a lot of people going, this game is buggy or these servers are lagging, but really it was just a problem with the code.
And if you just search for class change pose parameter in TF2, there's some really good videos that show you what that actually looks like. They show you the wireframe models and how the box is slightly shifted, which could cause you to miss or cause you to hit when you really didn't. So
yeah, I would say that's a pretty big bug when it comes to player accuracy, but people played around it. You compensate. This is kind of goes with our discussion last week with Overwatch. Is it better to be keyboard and mouse, or do they have an advantage over controller players? You just adapt. You adapt to the game. You figure out a way to win.
And I don't know how accurate this is off the article I read, but they said it was only 3 classes. When you change from one of those 3 classes, not every class would do it, and so I don't know how impacting it really was, but certainly something that should have been fixed before now. But cool on them for actually taking the 15 hours to 15 minutes or however long it took them to fix it.
Right.
It probably took Doug down in IT 6 minutes to knock it out.
Right.
Or down in coding, I guess, not IT.
I think everybody's IT when it comes to video game development.
Doug down in coding was like, really? He got his file for the day.
They gave it to the intern.
Yeah.
Give this to Kyle out at the front desk.
Hey, Kyle, once you get my mocha latte, can you brush up on the code over here at TF2? But that's just Valve. That's just Valve being Valve right there.
I guess so, yeah.
They do weird things over there.
I mean, much like CD Projekt Red, they're printing their own money, so.
They're just doing it without being as friendly to the community.
Yeah, I guess so.
I mean, they're okay.
If you call, inventing Steam and the greatest PC market in the world not being friendly to the community.
I mean, if you call it just a giant dump truck full of shitty games being backed up to your computer.
Yeah, but, I mean, there's some gems in there.
Oh, yeah. There really are, and they have really kept the PC market alive. But, I mean, I'm not going to go back to what we talked about, but they got to find a way to get good games to the front.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not exclusively a them problem. It's taken over, but the App Store suffers
Steam about
from
to be
it.
When the Switch comes out, is Steam going to turn into Nintendo for us? We're just going to
no, because I
give
don't
them shit
I don't
every
care
episode?
enough about it. Like Nintendo, I'm not invested in Steam like I am Nintendo.
Right.
So probably not. But every now and then, when I'm feeling down, I like to beat them. Just tear them down.
Give them a little kick to the ribs.
Because I know how much they care about what I say. much like Nintendo, I know how concerned they are with our opinions.
Gabe listens every week.
I'm sure he does. Let us know what you think of Valve. Podcastgamestitch.com, or follow us on social medias at @game_stitch. Let us know. Just, you like Valve? Not even Valve. Let's talk about Steam. You like Steam, you don't like Steam. Tell us why. But understand that the Steam is 100% necessary. You don't want it to go away. Because if it goes away, then PC gaming goes away.
Yeah.
We just got to figure out how to... We need a Brita filter for Steam. We need the pure stuff right up front and the bullshit, the contaminant. We need them gone.
Yeah.
If you want to follow me on Twitter, I am at Podcast Ryan. Matt is at Goddammit Matt. And Dan is somewhere puking, but he is at Shirtless Dan. Good chance he won't get back to you today.
Send him a get well soon.
You should. You should send him a get well soon. Box of chocolates, flowers. He loves stuffed animals. All of those things acceptable.
Yeah.
Big live show next week, 6 p.m. Central Standard Time. Definitely on Twitch, is that right? Potentially on YouTube?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Twitch.tv/GameStitch, 100% we will be on there.
So make sure you're there. Tell your friends, tell your family members, tell your coworkers. We're going to be giving away that copy of Mass Effect Andromeda. All you have to do is be all chatty up in the chat when we're doing the live show, and we'll pick a winner before we close out the episode. Everyone that is not the three of us or immediate family is eligible to win.
Yeah.
So bring everyone you know.
Big shout out to our community leader, big fan of the show, Garrett Wade. His missus had a birthday this week, so happy birthday to her. But she also gave us some great advertisement over on Twitter going forward to that show. So thank you so much to her for spreading the word.
And she was there for the last live show we did, so hopefully we'll see.
Yeah, she was there for 200.
Hopefully we'll see her again in this one.
She loves that dick llama thing, so
yeah. And if you don't know what that is, you're going to need
that train rolling.
You're going to need to jump over there and make sure you're there live next week. So we're really excited about that. So don't be a dickbag and just try to win the copy, and don't tell your friends about it because you're trying to limit the number of people there. To get everybody involved, let's grow this thing. Let's watch it swell. Just fill up all the space. Take up all the space.
Yeah. The more people there, the better. I mean, who knows what happens if we get a whole bunch of people in there?
We don't even know. We don't even know.
Yeah, maybe a surprise giveaway. Maybe
green dick llamas everywhere.
Who knows? Maybe we give away.
Maybe we give away Dan.
Yeah, maybe we start giving away other stuff.
We give away a host. We don't even know. You get a host. You get a host. There's only 3 of us.
Mass Effect is the advertised giveaway, but maybe there's other stuff. Who knows?
Yeah, be there or be square is what I'll tell you. That's what I'm going to end with.
Yeah, what you want to do is get a group of friends in there, and then you guys get all the prizes. You split them evenly.
Or maybe you say, hey, friends that don't play games, check out these guys that do, and if you win, you give it to me. Maybe help.
Also, just heads up, Heroes for Hard Times, we advertise them at the beginning of the show, but they're going to be there also. Greg, the founder of Heroes for Hard Times, he'll be on the show telling us a little bit about what they're doing, how we're going to be helping them out the following weekend when they do their first big 12-hour live stream. And hopefully the Heroes for Hard Times community that has become a part of our community. Hopefully you guys are there to listen to the live show also. You guys are totally eligible to win any free giveaways or anything. And
I plugged it earlier, but you were pouring coffee all over your setup. My back catalog game is up, and yours is close. I think Dan's is close.
I think Dan's is recorded, and mine is just waiting on me to actually record.
Yeah, so be looking out for those. Remember, you helped us make those videos possible by supporting us over at patreon.com/GameStitch. So make sure that you see your beautiful work in what you guys allowed us to do. And it was a lot of fun for me to make mine. So hopefully you'll see some more coming there from us.
Hell yeah.
Also, check out my Disc Jam playthrough because it's fucking special.
I already watched it while we were recording this episode.
Did you see me get my ass whooped in the first match?
Yeah, the first match, you got it handed to you.
I was like, how embarrassing to be recording right now.
Mm-hmm.
But I pulled it out strong, though, with the wins the rest of the way out. But wow. That first match,
you changed opponents. You got some kind of noob.
That's not what happened.
On the second
No,
game.
That's not what happened. And I think you'll have to verify, listeners, viewers, friends. If you go back and watch, I think the person I play the second time might be the person that beat my ass the first match.
Hard to say.
Or maybe I played this person the second and third time, but I backed out and searched again to get a new opponent. but it was someone I'd already played. So if it was the first one, it's hard to say. Maybe I'm better than them, but you need to watch the video to find out.
True.
This has been episode 1.
Nope.
This has been episode 214. I mean, that's kind of right.
Nah.
214 of the official Gamestitch Podcast. Thanks for joining us. Rate us on iTunes. 5 stars. Tell us all about it. That's super important to bring new listeners. I know we're asking you guys to do a lot, but we're going to do a lot for you guys in return. So just rate us over there and beat the drum about this podcast, because the more people that listen, the more cool things that we have planned. And we got some fucking things planned.
Yeah, please and thank you.
So get out there and watch some NASCAR. NASCAR starting up this weekend.
Hell yes.
So watch some races and get excited. Have a good, splendid week. Good day.